everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bilikis. How you all doing? It's good to be back with another tutorial which will be on how to make a BUBU jumpsuit. So this is a Maxi jumpsuit looking like a kaftan, and trust me, it is very easy to make. For this lovely jumpsuit you need about 3.5 yards to 4 yards of fabric depending on your length. That is the length of the jumpsuit. Here I will be working with 60 inches, so plus seam allowance of 1 inch at the lower part. And then I will advise you to get a fabric that comes by 60. You understand the reason why as we go on. The one I'm working with here is by 48, which might not be enough except you want it short. Here I have just 24 on fold. So that means it comes by 48, but I would advise you to get a fabric that comes by 60. It's going to work fine. Now, before we get started, if today is your first time of checking out my channel, you're welcome. Please make sure you subscribe. You can check out my other channel, Pattern Drafting with Bilikis and Bilikis Kitchen. On Instagram, I'm Bilikis Signatures, and on Facebook, Sewing Innovations. Back to today's class. Here I have my fabric folded. So all I did was, from the fabric, the amount of fabric I have 4 yards, I measured 62 because I want the length of the jumpsuit to be 60 inches plus seam allowance, let's say 61, so a total of 62 is fine. So I measured along the yardage, I measured 62 inches, then cut it out. So looking at this fabric here, so this is it, I measured 60 inches all along here, and then fold over to have 24 inches, so that would be for the back, and then folded another one again 62 inches, which will be for the front. So having done that, now we can start drafting. The first thing you are just going to do is to insert your vertical measurement before the horizontal measurement. Having folded it to have 24 inches this way, the first thing you are going to do, because it is a jumpsuit and you will need the crotch area, measure 5 inches as I have here and draw a straight line all down 5 inches before you start drafting at all. After that, you can now insert our measurement. The reason why I was telling you to use fabric by 60 is this. When I took my measurement from the center back to somewhere around here, I have about 25. Now, since we are taking 5 inches away, let's see what I have left. Here I have 19, and I want about 24. So that was the reason why I suggested you get a fabric by 60, although this also came out nice. Having done that, let's go over our vertical measurement. First, you need to draw the starting line, then half of your armhole, though we don't really need it. Mine is 8.5, followed by my waist measurement from the nape of my neck to my waist, which is 17 inches. I drew a line there. Now let us move over to the trouser part. So this is the waist. I want to pull it up. I've pulled up the fabric, and this is the waistline now here. The next thing will be to insert your crotch depth. Here, listen attentively, because this is a Maxi jumpsuit, so it shouldn't be tight at all. On a normal day, my crotch depth is 12 inches. How do you go about your crotch depth? Just divide your hip measurements, that is your hip circumference, by 4, and whatever you have, just add half an inch to that. So that's how you get your crotch depth for your normal trouser. So like for mine, it is 12 inches. Now, because this is Maxi and extremely loose, I'm going to add extra 4 inches to that. You can even do as high as 5. Trust me, it's going to come out very nice. So to that 12 inches now, I added 1, 2, 3, 4 to have 16. You can even make it up to 17. I'm assuring you it will still come out nice because you want it as loose as possible. After doing that, I inserted 16 inches. Then all you need next is just from your waist to your knee level. For me, it is 25. That is all. Then the length, we've already used the length of the jumpsuit to cut out the fabric. So just to the end is the length of 60 plus seam allowance 62. So having done that, now we can just start drafting, and within 5-10 minutes we are done. Good. The first thing is to insert the bust measurement on the armhole line. So what I will do is this. My bust circumference is 44. When I divide that by 4, I'm going to have 11. Here you don't need any seam allowance because we are sewing on the right side. So 11 inches, and since we said this is a maxi jumpsuit, you want to make it as roomy as possible. So just add extra half an inch to 3/4 inch. Why is that? If you add extra half an inch to it, you have a total allowance of 2 inches all around your bust area. If you do it up to 3/4, then you'll be having 3 inches all around. So to this 11 inches, I'm just going to add half an inch to that. So that will make it 11.5. Then going to the waist, my waist circumference is 38. When I divide that by 4, I shall have 9.5. So in this case, I will make it either 10.5 or 10 3/4. Good. Now we go to the hip area. For my hip measurements, I'm going to be inserting 1/4 of that, which is 12. So here, don't add the half an inch here. We are going to be adding it to the crotch extension. So having added the hip measurement, first let's connect this. And then this goes this way. So having marked that now, we are going to insert our thigh measurements on this hip line. For instance, my thigh measurement loosely is 28. So when I divide 28 by 2, I'm going to have 14 inches. So just place your measuring tape here and then mark 14 inches. So that's the front crotch. You can extend the line. So this will be my front crotch. The next thing will be to connect from this crotch extension to the knee area with your pant curve or your free hand. So that is it. That's just the reason why we inserted the knee measurement. Good. I haven't done that now. We are done with that. So the next thing will be to curl this out. Crotch is front. You can see that. That's the front. Now let's quickly go to the back extension. Now let me pull this up because we are going straight to the hem. I'm sure this is visible now. For the back crotch extension, all you have to do is to extend it. For instance, for a small to medium size, you can use 2 inches extension. For myself, 40 and above, use 2.5, 50 and above, use 3 inches. So for myself, I'm just going to add 2.5 to that. So if it's for 50 and above, just make it 3. So I haven't done that now. So from that part, just come down by 1/4 of an inch. You can use your ruler to do that too. So that is it at that point. Next thing is to have 2 inches all around. 2 inches. 2 inches. Just blend it in. And you see we are done. So this is the front and this is the back extension. The next thing will be to take whatever measurements you have on the hip area straight down because it is a straight jumpsuit. So here I have 12. Just come to this part. Remember, this is the starting line here. Measure 12 inches. So remember I told you that you shouldn't add that half an inch to this area yet. The reason why I did that was because I don't want to affect the extension of the crotch. So with this done now, you can just add it back. So half an inch here. Then here again, half an inch, then it's straight. still going to blend that, but just for you to see, and you see how beautiful that is. Good. So now you can redraw this again. You see? Can you see that? Perfect. So we are done with it. So the next thing is just to note where we are going to sew it up, because we are sewing on the right side. So all you have to do is to just come down by 2 inches from the armhole line. So note this point. It is this part you will start sewing from, because remember we are sewing on the right side, down or down. So that is it. The next thing is the neckline. So for the neckline, you can decide any type of neckline you want. So remember, we are going to have a zipper at the back. How we'll do is to measure 3 inches here, and at that point I will come to the end and come down by 1.5. If yours is longer than this, just make it 2 and then connect from here down to the edge. For the neckline now, I can just make it 4 inches by 4, or 3 inches here by 4. It depends on your preference. The back is just going to be between 1 to 1.25 as you want it. That's the front neckline. So let's quickly add the seam allowance for the front and back. For the front, because we are just going to join it at the front, except if you want a placket, even at that you attach it to the 1/2 inch seam allowance. So just measure seam 1/2 inch seam allowance all around. That's for the front. So the back is going to be 1 inch. Why is that? That is because of the zipper that's going to be there. I'll show you how to go about that. So here, 1/2 inch. And then we stop here. Now for the back, you're going to add extra 1/2. So for the front, is going to be this 1/2. So the back now will be 1 inch. So look at how I'm going to do that. So from there, total of 1 inch. So from the waistline, this is the waistline, I'm just going to measure about 12 inches. And note that here, that's where the 1 inch is going to stop. So this is for the back. So we are going to sew the 1/2 inch and stop here, then leave the 1 inch for the zipper. And you see, so we are done for the back. This is it, and for the front, this is it. Right. So we're cutting the back. I decided to cut I have to restructure the back because when I was explaining, in case you want 3 inches or 4 inches, but since we decided to go with the 4 inches, this is what it's going to be. So you can add half an inch. So that will be for seam allowance. The back is ready. We cut out the back for all. That is it. So I'm going to remove this now. So now this will be for the back. This very one will be for the back. Now we can go back to cut out the front. So I'm going to start from here. So trim off the seam allowance. So you can see this is the front. You just sew this straight. The back, you can see, so the zipper will be here, and you see this is the crotch area, straight down. So that is how the front is too. So you can start sewing off. You can sew the front and what it looks like. You see that. You see the crotch area straight down. So for us to start joining it up, the first thing we are going to do is to sew up the side. So make sure this joins together on the wrong side, but because there's a marking on the right side, that's why I'm showing you that. So can you see? Take to the sewing machine on the wrong side and just sew in the seam allowance straight down. And in case you want to have a placket, just let your placket stop around the waist region. So just get another piece of fabric like 1 inch and just turn it on the seam allowance alone so that you have it overlapping as if you want a placket. But for me, I'm just going to sew it straight down up. So I'm going to do the same thing also to the back. But for the back, remember we have 1 inch zipper allowance. Only for the front we use sew it straight to the top. But for the back, you just start from here and stop at this point. So the opening at the back will be for the zipper allowance. Looking at what I've done, this is the back part. So this is the zipper allowance. So at the crotch region, I only sewed that part that stops here. So this is now 1 inch for the zipper allowance. The trouser part is still open. So all I did was to join it again at the shoulder, half an inch that we left. So I want to show you the front. You can see what the front looks like because I marked on the front side. I had to do that for you to see, but yours you have to mark on the wrong side. But I'm teaching, I want you to see everything. Can you see the front, what it looks like? Can you see? Can you see? So this is the crotch extension, straight down. You can see that. That is it. Right, the shoulder join to the back. So when we finish up, then we can put in the keyhole. So the next thing now is to join the trouser part. So This is the right side of the front, the right side of the back. So the right side has to be facing each other. So you match it. So you can see. So this is the back crotch extension. This is the front. You can see that because of the marking. So everything has to match. Can you see how that matched up? You're just going to sew 1/2 inch. Starting from there, all across. See that? So 1/2 inch from one side to the other. So let me do that, then we can sew up. And this is what I have. You see that? So I'll join it from each side to the other side. So this is what I have here. The next thing is to turn it to the right side so that this is the front. This is what it looks like now. And let's see. So I'm going to turn it to the right so that we can sew all the sides. And this is what I have. Can you see that? This is it. So it's not still sitting well because I've not sewn the sides. So the next thing I'm going to do is to sew up the sides. The back is still open, the zipper. So what I will do now is mark this point on the back side here. The same thing I did here, I'll do that here. So it will be easier for me to sew it up. So take to the sewing machine now and just start sewing from this point all down on the right side this way. So just follow that point straight down. So that's what I'm going to do. So the next thing will be after sewing it, because I like to sew it up before cutting the keyhole here. It will be easier to cut the keyhole and then use a bias strip to finish it up. To cut out the keyhole, it is very easy. All I just have to do is to do that on this waist area. It depends on how wide you want the belt that will pass through to be, will determine the amount of hole you want to be in there. If you want a wider belt, you can do up to 3 inches. So just measure 2 inches upward here, 1 inch downward. But if you just want a tiny strip of rope, just measure about 1 inch this way. Can you see? So after sewing it up, I like to sew up the side before cutting off this hole so that I can use a bias strip to fix that. So I'm going to, so you can see I've sewn it from here to the waist, all down. Can you see that? So beautiful. So the next thing is to cut out the keyhole. So it depends on how wide you want it to be. So can you see that? So you just use a bias strip to just tape it all around. Good. Can you see that? So I'm just going to do that, hem the sides and then the end of the jumpsuit. So that's it. Back, this is what the back looks like. So the 1 inch opening for the zipper is still there. And let's see, let me show you the back all down. So this is what the back looks like too. Just the same as the front. So once the zipper has been fixed and the bias strip has been used on the keyhole and then the ankle area, you're good to go. And if this tutorial on how to make this Maxi jumpsuit has been helpful, please make sure you give me a giant thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I remain your girl, Bilikis. Bye.